First of all, good morning. This is the afternoon in Paris. Really sorry because you are all native speakers. I'm French, so I will do my best to be as clear as possible. And please forgive my accent. And this is the end of the day in Paris also, so be indulgent, please. So I'm really pleased to share the knowledge we have as a city of Paris. We set zero single-use plastic ambition since 2020 for the games of last summer. I'm the project manager of this ambition. I'm currently based in the department in charge of climate and ecological transition of the city of Paris. So I will make 20 minutes presentation. I hope it will give us room for the Q&A session right after. And I have like 5 topics. I hope I will be managing my time well because I tend to be really talkative on the subject. I will address 5 topics. The first of all, what is the zero single-use plastic ambition? How we set this ambition and how we define a clear perimeter to go on reduction, what we did for the games of this summer, what is the legacy of these games, how do we work as Paris as a plastic-free territory for shopkeepers, for administration, and some tips, really French European tips. I hope they will be useful for you, but I know there is some law regulation difference between Europe and the USA, but maybe it could be useful for you. First of all, let's begin by the zero single-use plastic ambition itself. So I wanted, before to dive into our zero single-use plastic ambition, which is on the left part of the slide, I want to share with you that we have a wide and comprehensive policy to tackle plastic pollution as the city of Paris. So first of all, you can see the zero single-use plastic ambition that was set for the games, and I will tell you more about the legacy and how we want to have new commitment to pursue on our ambition. We also have a active policy on plastic reduction on many other fields, on school and collective catering. This concerns nearly 30 million meals per year for kids, for elderly people, many persons in Paris. We are working on nurseries with a zero endocrine disruptor policy, so it's larger than plastic, but plastic contain a lot of endocrine disruptors, so we are really harsh on getting rid of any kind of plastic items for kids beyond 3 years old, and also for horticultural teams, because we want to get rid of plastic pots, because this is a big amount of pots that we are using every year for the gardens in Paris. On a really longer term, we are also aiming at reducing all plastic flows in Paris that are having an impact on microplastics or littering, for example, affecting our sewage system. It could concern, for example, synthetic sport grounds, which are causing a lot of microplastic leaks in the environment. So I'm just going to focus mainly on the zero single-use plastic ambition, and I will tell few words on what we are doing on the other sectors. But otherwise, it would be 1 hour presentation, and I guess this is not the items for today. How do we define a zero single-use plastic ambition for a city and for a worldwide event? Because it was the first focus for the Olympic and Paralympic Games of 2024. As we see, we focused on 3 main uses: food, beverage, and goodies. And we combine this with 3 levels of action: Olympic and Paralympic Games, one big shot, one event, legacy on Paris territory, and our Parisian administration. We are 50,000 municipal agents as the city of Paris. This is a big boat that have to be compliant with the purchase policy, the event policy. And what are we seeking? Mainly a user experience, to make it possible for Parisians, for visitors, to celebrate the games without single-use plastic on food and beverage, and also to have daily services dedicated to reuse and bulk. And of course, to have an exemplar Parisian administration, and this is really the hardest part, to be exemplar ourselves. And as you can see on the timeline before down in the slide, this has been a long journey to define clear measures outputs and results up to last year, 2024. It didn't come in one day. We had a lot of workshops, seminars, as you are doing, as you are having right now, to define our objectives, how to work together. This one, I know this is what is a zero single-use plastic ambition and what is the definition. This is, I would say, my favorite slide, because we are going into the definition of what is a single-use plastic. How do you define it? We started in 2019, and when we started, there were high debates within the city staff about a clear definition. I'm going to list some of the questions we were having. Is compostable plastic a single-use plastic? Are steel and aluminum cans single-use plastic? What about biodegradable plastics? What about the so-called plastic-free paper cups? We have a lot in France. These are all examples where we were confronted with a matter of a clear definition. For us now, they are all single-use plastic. We took as a framework a very strict definition of single-use plastic based on the EU, the European Single-Use Plastic Directive of 2019, and on the REACH regulation. This is also a European regulation on chemicals. So basically, for City of Paris, single-use plastic applies to all packaging totally or partially made of plastic. And this comprises a packaging with a plastic coating, liners, as thin as it could be, even on aluminum cans, for example. This means that paper cups, aluminum and steel cans, cardboard packaging are also considered as a single-use plastic. And how do we tackle single-use plastic? Mainly through reduction. Reduction can be achieved through larger format. For example, you have small plastic bottles of 25 centiliters, and you use, instead of this, 5 liters plastic bottles. This is a kind of a reduction. Or the reduction could be achieved through the elimination of unnecessary items. We also can have a reduction through the promotion of reusable containers. And we refuse to promote any disposable containers to replace disposable plastics, because most of them, they do contain plastics in their composition, regardless the marketing they might have. And because any material, this is the focus of City of Paris, any materials do have an environmental footprint. So replacing a disposable packaging by another disposable packaging is not a solution for the City of Paris. We need to use less material, and when we use a material, we need to make it last as long as possible. So it was the framework, because we still today we have a lot of questions. Is it a single-use plastic? Can we replace these plastic bottles with another materials? This is a daily question that we are facing as a City of Paris. So now let's be concrete. What did we do for the games of last summer? Before diving into the solution we set, this is important to take a few minutes to recall the nightmare it was in terms of organization. Because let's just imagine a multiple layer cake, each layer having its own objective and agenda. It was like a joyful mess. And the City of Paris, you have to know, was not the organizer of the games. We were only in the role of a host cities. The game organizer, it was called Organizing Committee, OCOG, was called Paris 2024. And it's a mixed institution between the French state, the International Olympic Committee, and local authorities, and many local authorities. And the City of Paris has also to deal with national Olympic committees and with the International Olympic Committee official partners. You see some logos on the slide, but officially there were 84 partners for the Olympic Games. And then, adding on this governance, we were having a multiple site governance only in Paris, because we were having venues operated by the OCOG, the Organization Committee, Paris 2024, venues operated by the City of Paris, venues operated by the Olympic French Committee, and venues operated by third parties. So to have a zero single-use plastic ambition on food and beverage, we had to dialogue and coordinate with all of these stakeholders for each stadium, each fan zone in Paris, because we were having a mandate only in Paris. The games were nationwide in France. So what we did for the official site that were managed by the organization committee by Paris 2024, we dialogue with the main, the premium partner for beverage, Coca-Cola. And with Coca-Cola, we refuse the systematic use of RPET bottles, recycled polyethylene terephthalate, basically plastic bottles. And also we give a priority to bulk. Basically, this is the soda fountains you can find in some fast food, but they were adapted to outdoors activity, and we give a priority to reuse because we have in France reusable glass bottles of Coca-Cola. And what we did with Coca-Cola is that they developed a technology, the soda fountains for outdoors, that you can see the pictures on the slide. Basically, it's a mix of concentrated syrup in the bag-in box with tap water and gas. You combine all of them, and you can recreate your own Coca-Cola. So Coca-Cola, for the games, they developed their own research and development, and they upgraded the existing fountains, so they were suitable for the outdoors event, and they deployed them in most of the sites in Paris and in France. It was a 2 years process. I just present you in one slide the result, but it was 2.5 years discussion and also battle with Coca-Cola to obtain this result. Basically, in one picture, what we had in Paris for the celebration areas held by the city of Paris, all the zones were plastic free on food and beverage. So we were having reusable food containers, reusable cups, no individual bottles, priority given to larger format. For the competition area, it was the soda fountains developed by Coca-Cola. In Paris, it was 256 soda fountains, 700 in France. And for all areas, reusable water bottles were made accessible, and we were having water fountains available in all sites. I know that for you in the States, this is nothing, but in Europe, water fountains, we needed a law to have water fountains made available actually on all stadium and arenas, because this is not really as frequent as we could wish. So thanks to the games, it was made available for all the spectators. And the legacy. During the games of this summer, we had the first public competition, first competition open to the public. It was on a road race on 2 distance, marathon and 10 kilometers race. And both races were held without single-use plastic for the refreshment station. It was nearly half a ton of single-use plastic avoided. And thanks to this first road race without plastic, all sports races are plastic-free since last September in Paris. We did a large promotion of tap water in Paris. We already have a network of 1,200 water fountain and points in Paris. We developed a campaign here. I chose the Water of Paris with 1,000 shopkeepers engaged. Basically, the shopkeepers, they give access for free for tap water for any visitors coming into the shops. Again, when I was in the States, I was really amazed because you have an amazing network. So this is not really relevant for you, but in France, in Europe, this is still relevant. And we engage the private sector with a plastic-free label, and also engage large companies such as Coca-Cola, Danone to develop some new technology. Because, for example, Danone, they did a bulk machine for yogurt for the visitors on the site. And the results, what we did only in Paris, I'm just talking about Paris territory, this year with the zero single-use plastic ambition, we avoided 45 tons of single-use plastic containers on all sites in Paris. And just for the celebration area of the city of Paris, it was nearly 8 tons of single-use plastic avoided. And also we had a massive mapping of water fountains that will be a big legacy, and a large engagement of shopkeepers in a plastic-free label in Paris. The legacy sports, the road race in Paris. How can we run without single-use plastic in Paris? Well, this measure applies since the 1st September of last year. And what is forbidden is any kind of disposable packaging. You can see aluminum cans, plastic bottles, cardboard, disposable paper cups. What is available for the refreshment station of the road race? This is reusable containers only and tap water. It could be also for the small race, because to develop tap water for outdoors activities, it costs some money. For the small race, from the communities or the association, they can use big and large containers from 5 liters. So we, to mentor the change, we give a temporary help for the event organizer, for the sport, for the road race. The city of Paris bought 100,000 reusable cups, and they are lent for free for the road race organizer. We give free access to tap water for the small race under 2,000 runners, and also free access to communication materials, because otherwise our cups or reusable cups, we hardly get them back. And so this is temporary, and it will end in 2026, because we assume that a 2 years transition is enough for all event organizers to find their own model. And the result, we are having 650,000 runners every year benefiting from this plastic-free road race. This is 20 tons of single-use plastic avoided each year, only on plastic bottles. We did a carbon study, and before we implement this plastic-free road race, the Parisian run race produced 127 tons of carbon emission every year, only with plastic bottles. Thanks to the water access and the reusable cups, the carbon footprint of Parisian race is reduced to 69 tons of carbon every year. And it takes into account the reusable cups loss and return rate. And our return rate, we were quite amazed by that, is actually stands at 82% last year. We have a target of 90% for this year. What's next on in this month? We should adopt a new engagement for all events in Paris territory. We have 5,000 events per year. This is like fashion show, festival, sport events, fair, associative events. We want all of them to be plastic free, and it will be voted by the City Council of Paris. Not this April, but in June, and it will apply right after. How do we get in? Remain 5 minutes. Can we go plastic free in Paris? Few words on how we support retailers in that transition. We created plastic free, as you have in Miami. I saw the presentation right before. Professional network. So it gathers 1,500 Parisian economic players, and we produce 5 industry guidelines. Basically, we have guidelines on food, on events, on tourism, on logistics, and hygiene and beauty. We launched, as I said, for the games, of the first zero plastic certification in France, and we already have 180 companies engaged. And the latest figures, this like more than 55 already certified. We also want to, and we are supporting the development of reuse offer in Paris by structuring a local network dedicated to reusable practices. And we finance also the local ecosystem startups to buy reusable containers, washing facilities also in Paris. And we develop some experimentation on 2 territories. The one on the Seine River banks. It will start by next year. And we launched last summer, it's around the canal of La Villette, also reusable cups mutualized and shared between 12 bars in the area. Also, we are working, and we'll be really fast on this one, but on the exemplar administration, Parisian administration, we produce guidelines. We are working on the catering, on the procurement. This is really key on the procurement for food, for beverage, for goodies. We are also working on the Christmas decoration, on school furnitures, and we have a lot also to develop to be on to be efficient. And we did a lot of training of our employees and to have them to be well aware of what is a single-use plastic and how to avoid single-use plastic. And since we started in 2020, this is 98 tons of single-use plastics that have been avoided. This includes also what we did for the games, but this combines the three levels of action: the administration, Paris territory, and Olympic Games. And still the figure is quite low because we need to calculate a lot of reduction on many other sectors. And really fast, some tips for zero single-use plastic reduction plan. What is important, because I'm sharing this plan with a lot of other local authorities and many other stakeholders, is just to frame your subject, really to be really clear on what is authorized, what is forbidden, because you can have many false friends, many false solutions. For example, I can see many festivals saying like we are we are zero plastic event with compostable paper cups with a plastic lids inside. For us as a city of Paris, this is not the solution we are looking for. To draw a clear and achievable action plan. For example, as a city of Paris, we went on the wrong track. On the first action plan, we say we will develop research and development, focus on the national legislation. We have really few power to influence that. So we refocus on the project we could really achieve and identify. As a city of Paris, we saw that to have a quick wins is really good to have to mark a lasting and valuable change for the inhabitants of Paris. Plastic-free run race, everyone is knowing it in Paris, and everyone is seeing that something is in change. Even though you have a lot of plastic, because we don't have the competence as a local authority in France we cannot make a local law say like there is no plastic bottles in a shop. This is the competence of the states. So this is still, we can promote some change also for the events we are organizing on the Paris territory. To train colleagues, agents, shopkeepers is really important because we don't have time to deep dive into the plastic solution, and most of the time suppliers are selling you miracle solution and which are not really good for the environment. And as you can, please measure the impact of your transition, because it's really priceless to say like I avoided more than 88 tons of single-use plastic since 4 years. It gives credits to your project. And really lastly, this is and I guess the PowerPoint will be shared with you. But this is some tips that we saw, but I guess most of them are really applicable for European authorities, local authorities, but as administration and on what was really priceless to change Paris territory, the financial support for reuse equipment. For the moment in Paris, we are over-equipped with washing facilities. So we are working on fostering the demand on reusable containers. So we are working on with the supermarkets, the local restaurants, to create a really large demand on reusable containers. This is the point which is lacking. We need to have a lot of incentives on that to create a local network on reuse as Zero Waste Miami. It's really important to have peer-to-peer exchange, because I can see like we have a peer-to-peer exchange on museum, on local nightclub, on food trucks, and really it's working far more better than a guidelines also. And that will be my conclusion actually, because I'm running out of time. Thank you all, and I'm all yours if you have some questions.